Hi, I'm David.
Hi, I'm Yelena, and this is Mr. Connie.
And we, Yelena and I, not Connie, are going to teach you all about Upavistha Konasana. Upavistha means seated, Kona is angle, and asana is pose. So it's seated angle pose. This is a pose that shows up in the second half of Ashtanga's primary series. And it's a pretty common posture overall. I think they do it in gymnastics and stuff too, right?
Maybe.
I have no idea.
But before we go any further, make sure you subscribe to our channel, give us a like, or give Connie a like, and comment and let us know what you thought of this video and what else we should do.
And you know, I know everybody starts their thing on YouTube saying subscribe to our channel, but you should actually subscribe to our channel because we want to keep making the videos, and that's going to help us keep producing them. So it's like no pressure, but we'd appreciate it. Okay, so there's a vinyasa because it's Ashtanga, so Connie's probably going to have to move. And we can talk about the vinyasa first, yeah, how to get in. Come here, Connie. You want to come sit in your thing? Good boy. Hey, good student. Good boy. Okay, so from downward dog, the posture that came before this was Supta Padangusthasana. Oh wait, no, that's not right. The posture that came before this,
Baddha
Konasana. So Yelena is going to Sapta inhale, jump through, and extend the legs and open them out. Catch the outsides of the feet. People always get this confused, either catching the toes or the outsides of the feet. So this one, the first wide leg forward bend in the sequence, you catch the outsides of the feet, and then Ashtau, exhale, fold into the state of the asana, just bringing your chin down towards the mat. And the drishti is nasagrai, that means towards the nose. 5 breaths here. This is the state of the asana, the vinyasa you hold. And then nava, inhale, lift your head up, and see how Yelena doesn't change the arm position there. So it's just chest and head up, exhale there. Dasha, inhale, lift your legs into the air, and point the toes up towards the ceiling and look up. And then we're going to hold here as well for 5 breaths. So there's a kind of a second state of the posture. And then Yekadasha, inhale, cross the legs, pick up, and Dwadasha, exhale, jump back. Inhale, Trayodasha, upward dog, Chaturdasha, exhale, hips up, downward dog. Okay. So there's a couple of things to unpack there. I just didn't want to make you hold it for too long.
Thank you.
Yeah. So just talking about the vinyasa solely, you saw Yelena jump through straight legs. That's always an option when you're doing your practice. There's kind of a whole story behind it. Maybe we've talked about it in one of the other tutorials. The cross-leg jump throughs will make you stronger, and they'll keep you stronger as well. But sometimes the straightest line into a vinyasa or into the next posture is with the straight legs. There's nothing wrong with doing the straight legs. It's completely inside of the tradition, but try not to do a straight leg jump through all the time. Yelena jumped through into straight legs because she was going to keep the straight legs coming into the next setup. Yeah.
But we should also mention that jumping through without your feet touching the floor, whether it's straight legs or cross legs, isn't the actual condition for this pose. So it's not that you have to be able to do that. You can also just step kind of into a cross-legged position, sit your bum down, then extend the legs and catch the outside of the feet.
Yeah, the vinyasa in and out isn't a gatekeeper. And then we talked about holding the outsides of the feet. So the line there, if you see, Yelena does everything very naturally, quickly, but you have to learn distances, right, when you're learning the posture. So Yelena knows to bring the feet wide enough so her arms are straight, but that's what we're looking for. So don't overspread the feet and make it difficult to catch. Don't make it worse for yourself, thinking that the feet need to be some distance apart. the distance between the feet is established by the length of your arms. So if you have shorter arms, then you're going to have your feet a little bit closer together than someone with really long arms. Okay? And then from there, when Yelena goes down, this is an alignment thing, but it's part of the vinyasa too, is to keep the knees and the toes pointing up towards the ceiling. And this is really important. We've got another tutorial all about one of the most common injuries, yoga butt, which is an inflammation or a tear in the tendon that attaches the hamstring to the sits bone. And we want to avoid doing that by keeping the sits bones down on the floor. That keeps the stretch out of the tendon and pushes it into the belly of the muscle. So one way that you're going to do that is by keeping the legs externally rotated. So that means feet up. See, if Yelena rotates the thighs in, the feet also turn forward. Sometimes this is a strategy people use to get deeper into the pose because it lifts the sits bones and dumps the weight forward, and it kind of avoids some of the stretch in the hamstrings. It avoids the stretch in the belly of the hamstring, but not the tendon. So that's the danger, right? So don't let the feet and the thighs roll in. That's one. And then kind of related to that, don't let the sits bones lift away from the floor. So use the bandhas, the activation of the pelvic floor and the lower belly, to draw back and down through the sits bones as you extend the chest forward. Now, the reason you might not want to do that, you might not want to keep the sits bones down, is because it makes it difficult to bring the chest forward. Well, that's your work. That's where you would sit with the tension. Don't sacrifice the sit bone connection with the floor to get your chest on the floor, okay? Make this the priority. Hips stay down, feet point up. Very important. So then she comes down, keeps the arms straight, toes pointing up, shoulders away from the ears, just because it's healthier. 5 breaths there, and you see chin down, drishtis on the nose. And then inhale from there, chest and head up. So really, only the position of the torso changed, nothing else changed there. And then dasha, see how Yelena bends the knees and keeps the grip on the feet? If you can do that with legs straight, go ahead. It's pretty rare. But she didn't lift the arms into the air and then lift the feet. She kept the grip on the feet as she lifted the legs up. And then this has a new drishti actually in the sequence, a new drishti in the sense we haven't encountered this one yet in the primary series, which is urdhva drishti. That means look up. My teacher says, try to see God. So you lift your chest, drop your shoulders, and the legs here, see the legs, it's easier to balance if you have your legs forward and your torso back, but we're not necessarily going for easier, right? So try to keep your legs coming out to the sides. Really open up the chest and the shoulders here. And the balance will get a little bit more precarious. That's okay. Just challenge it, and the hip position, Yelena is in pretty neutral pelvis here, so don't try to overarch in your lower back like that. You'll rock forward on the sits bones and collapse. Stay just behind the sits bones like Navasana with a little bit of a curve in the lower back and your belly drawing in, and then holding that slight curve in the lower back, holding the bandhas, try to extend the thoracic spine, lift through the chest more. And if you've watched our other tutorials, that's kind of the key to primary series, isn't it? The bandha contraction, mild posterior tilt, and then finding a thoracic extension.
This, if you pay attention to this in this pose, and if you really work on trying to lift the legs without letting go, so you maintain that grip on your feet, is a really good way to prep for what's coming up soon, which is the 2 poses in which we roll up into the setup. So Ubhaya Parangushtasana and Urdhva Mukha Paschimottanasana, they're the they're
after the next one.
Yeah, the next one. Yeah. So they really start to teach you that the importance of having a slight posterior tilt, because that's what will help you roll up eventually in those asanas. And of course, we do it in a pose that comes right after this one as well, Upavistha Konasana, where the legs are apart. So this movement is important, and it's kind of nice to explore the sensations around it as you hold it static.
Yeah, it's not, just for transparency, it's not taught this way in my stories, or it's not like reinforced, let's
Yeah,
say.
like emphasis isn't
Emphasized,
there.
yeah, that's a good word. So it's not emphasized, but if you read Yoga Mala from way back, it is said there, keep the grip on the feet. But I think somewhere along the line, people thought that keeping the grip on the feet also meant keeping the legs straight. And like I mentioned, it's almost impossible to do that. There are some people that can do it, but most of us can't. And so people just gave up on it. But there's no reason you need to keep the legs straight. That's not part of the cue. The cue just says keep the grip on the feet. So you can bend your knees, and then that still creates that consistent connection through the core, the posterior tilt, and you hold that as you shift your weight.
Because often what we see when people do one where they release, we see them going into this arched position first, and then kind of having hard time finding the lift in the legs. But if you maintain this grip, you're not really able to go into that arched position, but rather you keep going into that tuck, which puts you nicely in touch with your core or with your pelvic floor engagement.
Yeah. And then just to finish that up, we've already went over the vinyasa, but you don't bring your legs down, ideally, from there after you've held it for the B position for 5 breaths.
Right.
Then you're just going to cross your legs, pick up, and jump back from there. But that's not a condition for moving forward. So if you can't, you can always just walk back or crawl back or do whatever. You know, take a bus back, whatever gets you there. That's not that's not the most important part. All right. Okay. So that's
Connie's
about it.
asleep.
Yeah. Connie found that really relaxing. I hope you found it helpful. Please let us know. Subscribe and like.
Okay.
Okay.
And comment.
Yeah, that was the let us know.
Oh, let us know. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you'd have to like write it down. You couldn't just say it to the screen.
You were great.
You suck.
Yeah, or that. Yeah.
All right. So we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Bye.